Imagine this for a moment. It is the autumn of 1947, and you are living in central London. You consider yourself an honest, hard-working, and law-abiding British citizen. You pay your taxes on time, you support your local community, and you have spent years saving money from your daily job. One evening, you decide to pack your leather suitcase for a simple vacation to Paris, or perhaps to visit relatives across the Atlantic in New York. Before leaving your house, you open a locked wooden desk drawer, pull out a small paper envelope containing $200 that you saved from an old business transaction, and slide it carefully into your coat pocket. In your mind, you are doing nothing wrong. It is your money, earned through your own hard work. But as you step onto the train platform at the station, you are completely unaware of one dangerous reality. In the eyes of the British government, you have just committed a severe federal crime. If the border customs officer at the port finds those American dollar bills inside your coat pocket, there will be no polite warnings or gentle explanations. Your money will be confiscated on the spot. You will be served an immediate court summons, and you could face up to 2 years inside a British prison. You are not being arrested for robbery, and you are not being charged with smuggling illegal goods. You are being treated as a high-level criminal simply for holding foreign paper money in your own hands. How did one of the greatest global empires in human history become so desperately broke that it outlawed its own citizens from carrying foreign cash? What secret crisis pushed the Bank of England to the brink of absolute collapse? And how did a single forgotten law turn millions of normal families into accidental outlaws overnight? This is the shocking story of the year Britain declared war on money. To truly understand how this terrifying nightmare began, we have to look at the dark financial reality of Britain immediately following the end of World War II. On paper, the Allied powers had secured a brilliant historic victory. The streets of London were filled with celebrating crowds, and the country was praised around the world for its bravery. But behind closed doors inside the Treasury, a catastrophic economic disaster was silently unfolding. 6 long years of relentless, all-out military spending had completely destroyed the country's financial core. Britain's once massive gold reserves were entirely empty factories. Across the nation lay in ruin piles of rubble, and the government owed billions of debt to foreign creditors. There was only one currency on the global stage that actually held real value in 1947. And it was not the British pound sterling. It was the American dollar. If Britain needed to import grain to feed its hungry citizens, coal to heat cold homes, or industrial steel to rebuild broken cities, foreign suppliers refused to accept British currency. They demanded hard US dollars. But Britain had run completely out of them. Panicked and facing total national insolvency, the British government passed a desperate, heavy-handed law, the Exchange Control Act of 1947. Under this sweeping regulation, the state declared complete legal ownership over every single piece of foreign paper money inside the entire country. If you were an ordinary resident holding foreign notes, whether given by an overseas relative or saved from past travel, you were legally mandated to surrender it to the Bank of England immediately. You were stripped of your right to hold dollars, forbidden from trading foreign coins, and restricted to a pathetic travel allowance. Personal financial liberty had vanished overnight, setting the stage for a massive clash between the state and its own people. When a government turns a completely normal daily action into a major crime, it does not stop citizens from doing it. It simply transforms ordinary, law-abiding human beings into desperate secret smugglers. Almost immediately after the draconian foreign currency ban was enforced, a massive black market exploded across major British cities like London, Liverpool, and Manchester. Wealthy business executives, small local shopkeepers, and newly returned war veterans suddenly found themselves trapped in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse with police authorities. Because people refused to hand over their lifetime savings to government banks, they devised brilliant and insane ways to hide foreign notes. American dollars and French francs were carefully stitched into the inner fabric of thick winter coats, hidden beneath the double bottoms of wooden suitcases, rolled tightly inside empty toothpaste tubes, and buried under floorboards inside suburban homes. In response, the government unleashed an aggressive law enforcement crackdown. Customs inspectors at major international departure ports turned routine border checks into intense criminal interrogations. Citizens were systematically pulled into private rooms, subjected to aggressive physical searches, and had their personal baggage torn apart piece by piece. If an officer discovered even a single $10 bill tucked inside a leather billfold, The cash was instantly confiscated by the state and the traveler was immediately booked for prosecution. Undercover government agents even began monitoring upscale hotel lobbies, luxury restaurants, and financial districts to catch businessmen making illegal currency deals. If you whispered about trading foreign money inside a crowded public tavern, you risked being raided by federal officers before the night was over. The nation was now deeply divided between an authoritarian government desperate for economic survival and millions of angry citizens fighting to protect their basic personal wealth. For over 3 long decades, this harsh financial stranglehold gripped the everyday lives of the British public. It was not until October of 1979, under the newly elected government of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, that the Oppressive Exchange Control Act was finally completely abolished. The moment those strict currency restrictions were lifted, billions of pounds in global capital flooded back into London's financial district. The city transformed into a booming international financial hub almost overnight. Proving a timeless economic truth, aggressive government bans and state control rarely fix a failing national economy. They only paralyze human innovation and trust. Looking back from our modern vantage point, the extraordinary currency crackdown of 1947 feels like a bizarre, forgotten relic from a bygone century. But as we navigate our own modern financial era, is that history really as distant as we think? Today, as central banks across the globe rapidly push toward central bank digital currencies, and tighten regulatory control over digital financial assets, the fundamental question of 1947 echoes louder than ever before. Who truly owns the money sitting inside your bank account or digital wallet? Is it genuinely your private property, or does it ultimately belong to the governing power that printed it? When national economic crises strike, history demonstrates that the fundamental rules of ownership and personal freedom, can be rewritten overnight. In 1947, merely holding a single foreign paper banknote made an innocent British citizen a targeted criminal. It stands as a chilling historical reminder of just how fragile financial liberty truly is, and how effortlessly the everyday freedoms we take for granted can be stripped away when the state decides to take control.